there, welcome to Community Forum. I am Sarah Ayeku. On the program this week, we're going to be focusing on some communities in the hinterlands of Ogun State. These communities are located in Yewa North local government area of the state. Over the past weeks, they have been thrown into a state of pandemonium owing to the farmer herders crisis, and that's our focus. Welcome to the program. The way so smooth and straight to the hinterlands, western hinges of Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. Through towns and villages, we traveled to Yewa North local government, which in recent times has suffered frequent attacks by suspected herders. Yewa North local government area is a semi-savanna vegetation area endowed with conducive climatic conditions for agricultural pursuits throughout the year. It has the largest expanse of land among the 20 local government areas of Ogun State, with its headquarters located at Ayetoro. It is a fine cold morning. The locals are heading to the farms. It is the planting season and farmers are back at the farm with cautious optimism. They are tilling the soil in hopes of a bountiful harvest. But beyond this optimism for a bountiful harvest lies a fear of the unknown. Climate change is having a devastating effect here, and lands for farming are constantly shrinking and succumbing to erosion. Year after year, season after season, farmers here record losses owing to the invasion of their farmlands. Clashes between farmers and herders reach a peak between the months of October and March, which is the dry season. Oriliga is one of the communities in Yewa North local government still reeling from a recent attack by suspected herdsmen. The bridge is the only entry point into the community, and everyone is being vigilant for fear of another attack. Just under the bridge is a water body. It is a swampy area filled with mud and weeds, shrubs and roots. The greenish water is rather unclean and not fit for use. But this is exactly where the locals get water for domestic use. Many of them also flock to this place to wash and dry their clothes. And for others, it is a place to have a quick shower. The stream is usually dry, but there is water here today because it rained a couple of days before. Locals tell us that the story of this water body is deeper than its domestic uses. In fact, members of this community believe that this is one of the reasons why their community falls prey to attacks by herders and they want the government to provide them with pipe-borne water. We went further into the community. Oriliga continues to be at risk of waterborne diseases owing to the lack of potable water. And this is what they have to drink from the stream. Usually they add alum to the water, waiting for it to settle a bit before drinking. Sitting idle in a corner is an old rusty hand pump It was installed during the military era and has remained here ever since, in a comatose state. While no more activities seem to be going on, there is palpable fear in the atmosphere. The once bubbly community is now a shadow of itself due to activities of killer herdsmen. Even the animals are no longer at ease. Months before, Oriliga in Yewa Land was the scene of horror. Months after, what's left and scattered all over are imprints of an attack by suspected herdsmen that threaten the very existence of this community and those who live in it. Burnt vehicles and motorcycles lying waste at different corners.
Ọlọ́run ló yọ ni inú ìgbẹ́ là lọ kánà ìgbò bu tán là lọ sí Ìgànnà fàáṣọ òun sì gbani láyè wọn tẹ̀lé àwọn fẹ́ kọ́lé fún ni wọn gbani láyè wọn tó báàgì ráìsì wọn tó fún ni ráìsì à ń jẹ káṣí fàájì náà hàn kó tẹ̀ tó wù ní àpàdà sí bí wọn.
For these two men, the pain runs deep. One of them lost his wife and 2 children. The other lost a child in that night of horror. These are some of the victims, and they are trying to pick up the pieces of their lives. Almost everything has been affected by the problems being faced in this community, and education is not an exception. This is the African Church Primary School, established in 1945. But the signpost stating this lies in the rubble, perhaps to signify the state of the citadel of learning. And this rusty swing seems to be the only recreational facility here. A closer look at some of the blocks of classrooms reveals a lot. Reptiles like this do not miss an opportunity to enter into the learning area, as big cracks on the wall are visible everywhere. Class furniture is used to block the entrance of classrooms to prevent animals from straying in. There are electricity poles and high tension wires, even transformers in the community. But locals tell us that they have no power supply. Many who were born here do not know what it feels to be connected to the national grid. The locals even tell us the electricity officials come regularly to change the poles. We moved from Oriliga to another village. It's a 30-minute drive to Asafa community from Oriliga. Asafa, an agrarian community, has been the epicenter of the crisis in Yewa North. The tale has become all too familiar. While the world was busy celebrating Valentine's Day on the 14th of February 2021, chaos, despair, agony descended in full force on communities here. Suspected killer herdsmen went on rampage, overran the communities, setting houses and villages ablaze, maiming and killing locals. Months later, many of those who fled in the wake of the invasion have returned home, but they find it difficult to sleep with their 2 eyes closed. They sleep in the bushes or in the neighboring villages in Benin Republic. This is what remains of what used to be a multi-purpose store housing different goods. Locals tell us that goods worth millions of naira went down the drain when the house was set ablaze by the attackers. Roofless houses, burnt corrugated roofing sheets, houses designed with soot, burnt motorcycles, among others, are in different corners of the community. "87-year-old Matthew Olukoku is a traditional ruler of Asafa community. He has sure seen a lot. He was in the community on that night, and he tells us that fear still reigns supreme in the hearts of villagers.
Ká yìnbọn sílùú ká sun gbogbo ilé ká sun gbogbo ìgbàdo ni kò yé ni. Ó ti pẹ́ 206 lọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa ènìyàn nílùú. Ẹni méjì ni wọ́n kọ́kọ́ pa ní January 8 206. Tó ọ̀gbẹ́ni Wálé Aṣọ̀dún ìyàwó gbọ́njẹ fún un tán wọ́n gbóúnjẹ tẹ́hàn káńjẹ àtọmọ mẹ́ta yẹn ó bí. Fúlàní á yìnbọn sínú báyìí yóò ṣe yìnbọn ọgbẹ́sẹ̀ báyìí ná gba oúnjẹ lọ́kẹsẹ̀ sí ìyàwó ẹ̀ lè wọ́n gérí ìyàwó ẹ̀ ìgbà tó di 207 wọ́n tọ́ pa méjì bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn ọ̀rìn ṣèṣọ́jú ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì ní nǹkan pa aago mẹ́jọ ibi wọn ti ń ṣèṣọ́jú hàn Fúlàní làgáàdì ọ̀nà ilé ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì ká yìnbọn sínú ilé ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì. Wọ́n pa pásítọ̀ àti ọmọ ẹ̀ ní 208 àwọn ọ̀kan ló kú lóko ni wọ́n la ṣe ìsìnkú ẹ̀ wọ́n ṣá gbogbo àwọn mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin pa síbi tí kò bẹ̀. Tó akọmọ̀dí ìgbà ni wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sóní ẹ̀yẹ pa lílu yìí ṣùgbọ́n eléyìí ọ̀sọ̀ ọ̀làlẹ̀ kan torí ìbọn yìí hàn yìn sílùú ilé ọjọ́ bí kò bá ṣe ọlá Ọlọ́run bóyá ọgọ́rùn-ún òkú làbá máa sìn nílùú yìí.
It is a market day today, and all seems to be well as people are trying to pick up the pieces of what's left. The market leader tells us that stalls in the market were set on fire, but they have been rebuilt because life must just go on. But they are constantly living in fear of more attacks.
Nínú àwa tá a jọ sá lọ ọ̀pọ̀ ló kú sọ́hùn pẹ̀lú ìjáyà wọ́n kú sọ́hùn ẹlòmíì délé ibi ó wá kú àmọ́ a dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run pé àwa tó kù a wà láyọ̀ àti àlàáfíà ọjà wa ní gbogbo ibùkà náà ti sùn dànù kì í ṣe pé bóyá kí n tó délé ayé bí nǹkan ni wọ́n ti wá kọ́ ìwé búkà ìjọba tó wà ń bẹ̀ láti gbà yẹn ẹyọ kan tó wà ń bẹ̀ náà ló wà ń bẹ̀ wọn ò kọ́ kun a sì máléèjì.
When the villagers fled on that fateful night, some others were not so lucky. Nothing can be compared to the fate of Mr. Kehinde Gbadamosi, who was gruesomely murdered that day.
Bàbá tí wọ́n sún mọ́lé yẹn òun ló máa ń ta ògùn òyìnbó fún wa bí kẹ́míìsì ni. Bàbá yẹn ó kàn ṣàdédé pàdé ó ṣeré wá bí ń jọ yẹn kò mọ̀ pé nǹkan kan máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Ó kàn ṣàdédé pàdé ikú yẹn ni. Wọ́n ṣe yìnbọn fún bàbá yẹn tán náà wọ̀ sílé ká sún mọ́lé. Àjẹ́ ìsàrí ẹ̀ ní ń bì. Ó ní òréré ibi tán pa sí gangan ni. Sàárè bàbá yẹn ni ibi tán sí sí ni.
Lying cold in this unmarked grave, Mr. Gbadamosi became a victim who paid the ultimate price just for relaxing in an area he was familiar with. Some are lucky to be alive, but will continue to live with the physical and psychological scars. Apart from this perennial problem, this community is yet to benefit from the provision of basic amenities. This is the community primary school with a beautiful compound, but it needs a facelift.
Come here.
Good power supply remains a problem, despite electricity installations littered around the community. Asa remains in the dark shadows. This is the facility provided to cater for the health needs of people around here. But it is as silent as a graveyard because no one seems to come here, as patients will rather travel several miles to other communities to access health care or go to neighboring Benin Republic. Looking at the structure, it is easy to notice that all is not well. Broken ceilings, missing window panes, torn nets, and cracks on the wall have become its attributes. All the buildings around the area are in a bad state. Bats in their hundreds, squeaking and fluttering in the walls. They have succeeded in becoming the original occupants of the health center. The place smells terribly as a result of the droppings by these bats scattered on the floor. The nocturnal creatures continually nest in this place as it provides the seclusion that they crave.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni tá máa ń bímọ sẹ́rí ẹ̀ ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ rí kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ rí ìjọba kó jọ wọn kó ṣàánú ẹ̀ ní kò dáa níwọ̀n à ń sùn sórí ẹ̀ ní kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ìyá ẹ̀ ti pọ̀ jù ọkọ̀ ǹdí ọkọ̀ ṣàánú ẹ̀ ní. wọ́n ní wọ́n bá fi ọkọ̀ ṣàṣẹ̀ lọ pọ̀ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ là ń ṣe ká tó dó jáde ṣé jẹ́ kò ní tán lára olú ẹ̀ kò ní kú bó ṣe ń rí nìyẹn ọmọ tèmi náà ó ti ṣaláìsí nígbà tá a dé bíbá tí àwọn àdán burúkú yẹn wọ́n fún wa láàyè ibi mo àti tó fẹ́ gbọ́mọ lọ síwájú ọmọ jáde láyé òun ni ọkọjọ ọmọ kó ràn mí lọ́wọ́ ọkọ wá nǹkan ṣe sí. àwọn abẹ́rẹ́ wa nìyàn ìyàn ń fún wa oògùn nìyàn oògùn ló kún bíi tó ti bàjẹ́ táwọn àwọn òde kò jẹ́ kàn ṣiṣẹ́ ń bí bàṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ rí òun ní gbogbo ẹ̀ náà kójọ síbí òun ní wọ́n ní wọ́n gba abẹ́rẹ́ ètò ìlera kọ̀pọ̀ dọ́dọ̀ ẹni ó ṣe lè dọ́dọ̀ ẹni ńgbà pé kò sóni ń tọ́jú ni kò sóni ń ràn ní lọ́wọ́ òun ní akọ̀ǹfẹ́ kígbọ́ lérí rédíò ní kó ń gba abẹ́rẹ́ ò torí àìsàn burúkú àwọ̀ òrí ọkọ̀jọ ọkọ̀ ṣàánú ẹ̀yìn.
We moved to neighboring Ibeku community in Yewa North local government. It is about 10 minutes away from Asa community. Here, we meet staff of the health center sitting under the tree because just like the one in Asa community, it has also been taken over by bats. It also has a bee colony. The buildings are getting weak and bearing big cracks on the walls. Ants are also severing the roofing plank, digging holes into it. While the health center is cleaned regularly by the health workers, bats frustrate staff daily with their droppings. There are light sockets around, but there is never electricity. Above it is a battery lamp, which the locals call Ojuti Nepa, loosely translated to be shame on the now defunct National Electric Power Authority. And so they have many more of it to illuminate the health center at night. But for 2 beds, the place is empty. Abandoned and dusty furniture are in different places. This is the pit toilets that health workers and patients have to use.
Àwọn eku ti bà gbogbo ẹyẹ wọ́n ti ṣú sí gbogbo inú ilé ìjọba o tí wọ́n bá ti dé bí ńgbà tí ó bá sí nǹkan ní sẹ́ńtà tí wọ́n máa lò wọ́n á kọjá sọ́jọ́ ọ̀nà ò dáa kí wọ́n tó dọ̀hùn bó jẹ́ ni máa bímọ nìkan tó dọ̀hùn olòmíràn lè tìbí sọ́nà kó tó dé lọ́hùn wọ́n bá jẹ́ ní pàjáwìrì ni wọ́n á gba 2,000 bó jẹ́ máṣíìnì ni wọ́n bá jẹ́ mọ́tò ni wọ́n á gba bíi 5,000.
We trod these untarred paths filled with red sand leading to the border between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin. It has just been graded, and its culverts are marked at the sides with red and white colors. This lonely area is the border between Nigeria and Benin Republic. It is unmanned, and the only thing that differentiates the two countries is this red and white barrier. This is a Gelu community in the Republic of Benin. Many people from the affected villages in Yewa took refuge here when their land was invaded. They share the same culture and values, but are just separated by a border. At the time the incident took place, this place, a mosque, was converted to a makeshift IDP camp, and it housed a lot of displaced Nigerians when they fled their communities. We didn't meet anyone here, as most of the displaced are said to have gone back to their communities in Nigeria.
Èmi ni Abdulwahab Adio, ọba pápá ìkẹta ológunba àti ìlú Ògùnbà.
Oba Abdulwahab Ogunji is the traditional ruler of a Gulu community, and he is of the opinion that open grazing must be banned to put an end to the farmer herders crisis.
Ìran tó wà níbí pẹ̀lú ìran tó wà ní Nàìjíríà, ìran kan náà ni. We are the same, nǹkan kan náà ni wá. Bọ́dà ló pín wa. La fi ń sọ pé ọmọ Nàìjíríà lélẹ́yìí, ọmọ Benin lélẹ́yìí, kò sí àyàtọ̀ nínú wa. Ní on the 14th February ni a wà ní ibí. Náà ní gbogbo èèyàn ń sáré gbàdàgbàdàgbàdà, wọ́n ń gbẹ́rù sórí gbogbo nǹkan ìdìkù, gbogbo nǹkan kan. Náà ń gbé náà ń sáré dé. Ìlú yìí kún bí ó kún ju ọjà lọ. Ní òru gànjọ́, kò sẹ́ni tó sùn. Ibi tá a wà yìí, ibi sùn ló jẹ́ fáwọn èèyàn. Kí n ṣe gbá wọn lọ́hùn, ó gbá wa náà ń bí o. Nítorí ìgbà tẹ́lòmíì débí tó jẹ́ pé ẹ̀wù pẹ̀lú aṣọ tóró yẹn nìkan ló mú débí, wọ́n sì tún sílẹ̀ lọ́hùn. Ṣáà lè wò ó níran. Kò ṣeé wò níran. Kò mọ oúnjẹ débí. Ṣáà wá wò ó níran kébi pa á. Nítorí ilẹ̀ akátá tá a níbí tó jẹ́ pé tí ẹgbẹ́lẹ̀ bá dé ni wọ́n rí ewéko tó tutù dáadáa tán jẹ, òun ló lé wọn wá bí akọ̀ọ́ra. Ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n sinmi, kí wọ́n fi wá lọ́kàn balẹ̀. Nítorí àkókò ẹ̀gbẹ́lẹ̀ tí òjò rọ̀ yẹn, àkókò yẹn ni àkókò ọrọ̀ ajé ti wá, tí àwa ń gbìn ilá, tí àwa ń gbìn ẹ̀fọ́, tí àwa ń gbìn nǹkan oko tó jẹ́ pé tó bá jáde báyìí owó ni. Ṣerú ẹ̀ dá. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin adarí ìlú Nàìjíríà, mo bẹ̀ yín, ẹ dìde, ẹ kọ̀ fún àwọn darandaran yìí. Kán má di darandaran mọ́ wa lọ́rùn.
For a problem that has lingered for years, residents in Yewa North communities are hopeful that the federal and state governments will attend to their plight and ensure the safety of lives and property.
We immediately set up a special task force for this area that comprises of men of the police force, men of the military, men of the civil defense, men of the state security, and even our hunters, to protect everyone, not just the indigents, but everyone, including those that are innocent, foreigners that have been living amongst us for many years.
We are able to discuss with the farmers, the natives there, and the herders, and everybody has agreed. They have resolved to work together, to live together in peace, and the herders too have resolved that henceforth they will be the one who will be facing out those criminals that are using their names to perpetrate one crime or the other. And with what is on ground now, I believe there's no reason for anybody to be apprehensive.
From this side of the border, which is the Republic of Benin, everyone seems to be going about their usual activities. And on the other side, which is in Nigeria, peace and calm has been restored to most of these communities. But members of these communities are still scared and worried to go about their usual activities. They are hoping the Nigerian government will find a lasting solution to the farmer-herders crisis. But that wraps it up on this edition of Community Forum. Don't forget you can watch this episode, previous or subsequent episodes on our YouTube channel. You can also get in touch with us, invite us to your communities, tell us how the government can make your life better in your various communities. Thank you so much for watching. I am Sarah Yeku. I'll see you next time, and do stay safe.